You are inside the Bridge 365. This is what happened this week. The crisis within the Central Union, followed by the exclusion of 4 members of the SLEG, is at its peak. The support of world funds come handy as Guinea's Central Pharmacy got a brand new loot. A case of double murder in Mandiana after the assassination of Saudi preacher. 4 Westerners were kidnapped in Kaduna State in Nigeria. Welcome to our viewers in Guinea and around the world. I'm Sanusi Gallice Jr. Diallo and you are watching the Bridge 365. As always, we start with the most relevant. The crisis is still persisting within the Central Union, USTJ, following the exclusion of 4 members of the SLEG, including Abubakar Suma, the mastermind of the last teacher strike in November 2017. This decision, considered by Abubakar Suma as a bogus and not effect, remained for Louis Mbemba Suma irrevocable and qualified the excluded as a union intern. If Abubakar Suma considers the decision of his exclusion within the SLEG as a bogus, non-effect, and further went on to qualify the makers of his decision as corrupted, for Louis Mbemba Suma, General Secretary of USTJ, Abubakar Suma is simply out of his mind and officially removed from the Guinean Union. Subsequently, all these activities will be illegal, mainly any attempt of strike in the education sector. I can conclude that Abubakar Suma is out of his mind. There's only a crazy man who acts as he's doing. It was the 2 Secretary General who signed the declaration concerning his total exclusion. So he's no longer part of the Unionists. So everything they will do from now in the name of the Union is illegal. So if he tried to make a strike on now on, he will be an illegal strike. Next time the authority take him, he will regret it. That is clear. 100 million franc Guinean paid to unions by the government will have motivated his exclusion. USTJ and SLEG responsible say they are ready to dishonor Abubakar Suma and his team. Suma need to tell where he found the money to send people in Kubia, Leluma, Tuge, Labe, Mali, and Pita. If it's a corruption, we assume it was the government that gave us the money as a grant. It is a delation in this country. The time will come, we will tell you about this man. We will blast him. After the exclusion of Suma from the union, who the government will discuss the negotiation of the 20% in February. According to trade union official, in Guinea, over 12 unions, the government negotiated only with 2, the CNTJ and the USTJ, because for the state, there's only 2 legitimate unions. The World Fund has financed the renovation and extension of several Guinea Central Pharmacy buildings. The technical remission took place on Thursday under the direction of CRS. The Guinea Central Pharmacy has a new face. Many of its buildings had just been renovated. The case of Block Bay, built in 1960, has not been modernized since then. In 5 months, major work has been achieved by UNOPS. The mosquito net, the separation yard, the latrines, the layout of the green space, all are brand new. We work on 5 depots: capping, painting, construction of gutters for sanitation, upgrading of electricity, installation of air conditioner. Also other places where we have extension. It is a construction that has been added to an old building to increase the quality and height of the depot. The accomplishment of this work was made possible thanks to the World Funds, which spent $1,400,000. A fund that has also been used to renovate and extend the depot of Labe, Farana and Cancan.
It's another responsibility to finance the work, but we must supervise the work, be certain that it is done on time, and the work is the quality, and the work is well done, and stay within the budget allocated by the World Fund. As of now, what I see here is an international standard, and is done on the international standard level. The completion of this work is a big relief for Guinea Central Pharmacy. I say it with pride and joy. This work of renovation allowed to increase our capacity of storage in a substantial way, but also it improved the condition of storage. Now the condition of storage are in the international standard. That's very important. And thanks to the quality of work done by UNOPS, all financial support, World Fund, and CRS for its rigorous monitoring. Now the next challenge will be the renovation of buildings who have recently been ravaged by a fire. During the 59th independence celebration of Guinea in Cancan, President Alpha Condé ranked a charge against his detractors.
The next day, his opponent, Cellou Dalein Diallo, leaders of the opposition, refute allegation of president charged that he sold the company Air Guinea. Cellou Dalein Diallo, in his turn, accused Condé of selling Guinomar. Here's an excerpt from Semaine Po.
In this case, President Lansana Conté said Air Guinea will be sold to a Guinean since one already shown interest to buy it. Therefore, we are not giving it to him, we are selling it. The president ended up taking a decree, instructing the minister in charge of privatization, in this case the Minister of Finance. At the time, there was a privatization unit to proceed with the privatization and liquidate Air Guinea in the case of Boeing 735 to Elhaj Mamadou Sylla. The Ministers of Finance, through the privatization unit, executed the President Conté order. And I must say that the Ministry of Transportation did not participate in the process because the minister in charge of the federal investment in public enterprise is the Minister of Finance and is the one who can mandate to proceed to the privatization. But I must acknowledge that Sheikh Kamara and I, we encouraged President to do it the right way. But the President took his decree and asked the Minister of Finance to sell Air Guinea. Again, I must say it, he insisted, we are not giving away, we are selling it. Let me remind Alpha Condé during his trip to Cancan, he said, we sold Guinomar. He forgot, I think it must be his age. He's the one who sold Guinomar. He liquidated Guinomar to be able to recover what is called Article 9 to attribute it to Mauritania. You understand that? It was him in 2011 who decided to liquidate Guinomar. I must remind you, when I was a minister, I negotiated so Guinomar can pay a brokerage commission of $1.05 per ton carry on the cargo of CBG. It was never done before. I put all my weight as a minister to the chairman of the board of directors to collect the brokerage commission from Guinomar. Today, there's no brokerage commission, no dividend, no employment.
A Saudi on a preaching mission in Mandiana was killed by a stranger. The alleged murderer was also shot dead by the Donzo chief. The body of the Saudi arrived Thursday in Conakry, and an investigation has been initiated by the authority. Here's the point.
The act took place in Kanté Balandougou in the sub-prefecture of Dialonkoro in Mandiana. According to several witnesses, a Saudi preacher was killed and a motorcyclist seriously wounded. It occurs between 8 and 9 p.m. last Thursday when stranger ambushed the Saudi preacher near a station before firing a bullet at a biker and a Saudi passenger. They both collapsed, but the Saudi preacher died and the motorcyclist seriously injured was admitted to the prefecture hospital. In the dawn of this horrible act, the Donzo leader was also stabbed to death early Thursday. The motives behind these killings is unknown, but everything leads to believe to a settlement. The alleged murder of the Donzo chief is detained in downtown Mandiana. At the origin of this retaliation act, a mission of preachers came to sensitize the citizens of the locality. This mission left Siguirin for Mandiana to teach the principles of Islam, an action managed by the Union of Young Muslims of Guinea, a structure that assists more than 1,500 imam and Quran master training. According to some members of the association, the body of the deceased Sheikh Abdulaziz Touarigiri arrived in Conakry Thursday. An investigation is initiated by the authority for further clarification in these two cases of murder in Kanté Balandougou in the prefecture of Mandiana.
4 Westerners were kidnapped in Kaduna State in Nigeria. The 4 expatriates were on their way to Abuja when the vehicle were intercepted. Kaduna police spokesperson say all the forces have been mobilized to find them, including the entire kidnapping brigade. The army has also been involved, and according to Mukhtar Aliyu, the spokesperson for Kaduna State, the vehicle were ambushed. The U.S. Embassy declined to comment on this information. Kidnapping are quite common in Nigeria. The target are most often wealthy Nigerian and expatriates. During a press conference held by the State Department, the United States urged North Korea partners and those in Africa to isolate the regime of Pyongyang. But the continent journalist's principal concern was the last statement of U.S. President in which Donald Trump described Haiti, an African country, as a shithole country. Robert Scott, the senior officer of the State Department, remained unraveled and undeterred by the wave of question. The American diplomats seized the opportunity to explain that African country should break with Pyongyang and expel all North Korea nationals. For the U.S. Department, the African capital must enforce the international sanction against Pyongyang because North Korea is considered as the main threat of people's security. France and England promised to strengthen their borders and defense at the UK and French summit. Objective of the two countries is to establish a closer cooperation. An increase of 50.5 million euro declared the British government for the strengthening of security at its border with France. The bilateral summit between France and England focused on issues of security and defense. It was also the opportunity for both countries to recognize the merit of Accord de Touquet, a treaty criticized by many British representatives. With more than 100 million euros spent over the last 3 years, British and French leaders are fulfilled and pledged to sign a new treaty which aims to bear the Touquet Agreement. Under the plea of President Emmanuel Macron, London has agreed to take in charge more migrants in Calais, including isolated minors. On a military level, the official underlined that there is no riddle to Brexit. Despite the political divergence, they have decided to strengthen their military relations. Accordingly, Great Britain is committed to dispatch a military force and 3 helicopters of the Royal Air Force ready to intervene alongside the French forces in the region of the Sahel. France and England constitute 50% of the European Union defense expense and represent 2 Western nuclear powers. And that's all for today. Make sure you check our social media pages at The Bridge 365 or visit www.evasionguinee.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.